Top5rapwebsite.com. You already know what's going on. Today, finally reacting to Battle of Los Angeles album by Rage Against the Machine. If you have not seen my other Rage Against the Machine reactions, I reacted to their first album and also their second album. This is now their third album I'm reacting to. Go check those out. Those are on my channel currently. I'm sure many of you have already seen them. Those seem to be very popular reaction videos. So anyways, let's jump right into it. No BS. Track number 1, Rage Against the Machine, Battle of Los Angeles, titled Testify. And I got the lyrics right here. I'm gonna read the lyrics as I listen. That way I know what's going on.
Mind if I leave this card with you?
Yeah, sure.
Who are you listening to?
I was Rage Against the Machine. Yeah. I got the lyrics right here. I'm gonna try not to react mid-verse, but sometimes, hey, that's what's gotta happen. I gotta react mid-verse. I'm gonna try to let the verses finish. Turn this up a bit. Okay, so I will say, you know, the mixing of the vocals here, of Zach's vocals, they sound a bit more subdued or to the background. The music is definitely more forward in this first track. Let's keep going though. Well, let me see some of these lyrics. Sounds like he's dealing with fame. First two albums were definitely socio-political. That's kind of Rage's thing. But it seems like here he's dealing more with fame. The movie ran through me, the glamorous of Doobie, tabloids. Only silence mocks the legless ones who travel now in coffins. So just speaking about, you know, people who have passed, but you know, let's keep it going. Okay, so that's verse 2. I'm trying to get these lyrics. Your temple, it calms me so I can carry on. My slaving, sweating the skin right off my bones. A bed of fire, I'm choking on the smoke that fills my home. Wrecking ball is rushing. So it sounds like things are falling apart around him. He mentioned those tabloids earlier. He mentioned the glamour. Now he's in a home. He's on a bed. Everything's falling apart around him. If you know what this song is about, I'm sure y'all have listened to this song many more times than me. Feel free to post that in the comments. You know, am I on point? Am I way off? Let me know. The jury's sleepless. We found your weakness. It's right outside your door. Corner, the jury's sleeping. For the pump, the price. Mass graves for the pump when a price is set. Okay, it's Tom Morello. And is Tom Morello still a part of the band at this point? I don't know. Rage is like a little before my time. I mean, I was alive when these albums came out, but I was like a very small person, so very young. Tom Morello, he does things like, I'm assuming this is Tom Morello because, again, I'm hearing things done with a guitar that I've never heard before. So it's just crazy. It's crazy what he does. It's hard to put in words. That's true. That's true. Who controls the past controls the future. The present now controls the past. All right, that was Testify. I mean, that started off. I haven't been let down by a Rage Against the Machine intro. The intros are always heavy, and it's always like a sign of what's to come in the album. Track number 2, and this is actually the only song I've heard from this album because it was on Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, one of my favorite video games of all time. Although I like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 more, I think, because like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, you were limited to like the 2 or 3 minutes to go collect skate, to go, you know, flip over Ollie the Bum. Like you had limitations, like you couldn't explore. In Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, you could explore the world, you could explore the level, and then you can walk up to people and then do the skate quests or the combo quest or Ollie the Bum. So I like that about 4 more. Tony Hawk's Underground was nice too. Tony Hawk American Wasteland, very underrated, I think. I really like that game. So anyways, the song is Guerrilla Radio. I love this song. Oh yeah. To me, this is their best song. Again, this is the only song I've heard prior to this. I haven't heard any other songs on the album. This is the first Rage Against the Machine song that I heard, ever. I guess I could read the lyrics too. I gotta turn this up for this. I gotta turn this up a little bit more. That bass line. I spectacle, monopolize. The camera's eyes are checking the sky. Was it cash for the mass who put it toil? For the vultures who pay for blood and oil. Yes, a spectacle, monopolize. Behold the rage, smoke your eyes. So the face the guards, the bullets and bombs who stuff the banks, who snap the party rats. War for all, the son of a drug war, none of the above. Fucking cut the cord. Starting that shit up. Yeah, this just gives me Tony Hawk. I might even put a little Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 video. Cause that's like the first 100 times I heard this song was playing Tony Hawk. The frequencies. Sound off, we're gonna be free. And I gotta say something about that. Alright, so hold on. You know I love the hook. But I gotta comment on that. I actually never realized Zach said Mumia. I never realized, and Mumia was allegedly convicted of allegedly killing, well, he wasn't allegedly convicted, he was convicted of allegedly killing a police officer. But Nas also references Mumia in his song Take It in Blood. And that was off the It Was Written album by Nas. That came out like in 97. So I'm not sure when this album came out. It might have been around the same time. But yeah, Nas says chilling in the VL with Mumia. I actually never noticed that Zach said Mumia Guam be free right there. So anyway, back to the hook. So I call it hook. In rap, we call the chorus the hook. Like they're interchangeable words. don't get you pumped, I don't know what's wrong with you. Is that a harmonica?
To start somewhere.
Ooh, that shit got my heart racing already, man.
Better place than here. What better time than now?
Okay, yeah. So to me, that's the best Rage Against the Machine song, period. That's like, that encapsulates everything they do so well. The message, the aggression, the upbeat, like adrenaline pumping tempo, that's the best Rage Against the Machine song to me. But I've only heard 2 of their albums, about to hear a 3rd one. Maybe I'll hear something better than that on this album. I doubt it. That's number 1. And the song has a lot of nostalgia attached to me. Like I said, based on the Tony Hawk, Pro Skater. Yeah, there's some airplanes doing some strange things over here. Anyway, track number 3, Calm Like a Bomb. So it's an oxymoron because bombs, definitely not calm. Definitely pretty hectic. Some bass line. Yeah, that is a funky bass line. Zepeda, Emmanuel Zepeda. KKK. Okay, I'm gonna stop that right there. Just to go over that first verse, he mentions makes a couple references here. My word, war. See, that's a tongue twister. Because usually it's a ward, world war. He says my word war returns to burn. So maybe he's talking about, with this new album, that's my word war. My word war returns. That's a tongue twister, bro. To burn, like Baldwin home from Paris. So is he talking about James Baldwin? James Baldwin was a prominent black activist. James Baldwin moved to Paris in the 1940s to escape America's persecution of blacks. Okay. Like steel from a furnace, this is the native son born of Zepeda's guns. It's talking about Emmanuel Zepeda. I think he was a Mexican activist. Oh, Emiliano Zepeda. Mexican revolutionary. Okay. A white hooded judge. Obviously, he's talking about KKK. Like this judge is in the KKK. Which would happen, a lot back during the KKK's heyday. You have police, bankers, paramedics, judges. They're in the KKK, bro. Like, it's like their little side organization that they do. Anywho, back into it. I think we're at the chorus. And that part, what you say, what? That kind of reminds me of, I don't know how many people out there watch wrestling during the Attitude Era. That reminds me of the DX intro song. Well, that whole song sounds like Rage Against the Machine. It sounds like Rage Against the Machine. something to say about that. So here, Zach, he says, where was it? Hope lies in the smoldering rubble of empires. So he's saying like, yo, there's no hope in the current system. The only hope is when everything's burnt down. Some of us are even dead, like even some of the revolutionaries. And there's where you would normally say there's no hope. There's no semblance of any, barely even life left in this civilization. That's when he says where the hope is. Because now we have a chance to start from ground zero and not repeat like the shit that got us there in the first place. So that's a very bleak viewpoint. Same bodies buried hungry, but with different last names. So I think that just goes back to what I said. Like, yo, hope lies in the smoldering rubble of remains. Like, yeah, even some of the revolutionaries are gonna die. So he's saying, like, yo, it's very bleak. Same bodies that were buried hungry. So he's talking about us, the revolutionaries. Like we were buried hungry, but we had different last names. Now, I could look up the definition, but I'm gonna guess what he means. Different last names. When you look at people like Malcolm X, or just other figures, they changed their last name from their slave name or from their government name. They changed it, and they, I guess, to take ownership or have more of them self-implemented in their name. Like, they're not connected to their last name at all for whatever reasons. Later in the verse, Zach mentioned slaves. There's a field for the slaves. So I think that's what he's doing here. Let's see what the definition says. Yeah, they don't mention the names. Oh, I'll click the last one. No, they didn't say anything about that. Okay, let's keep going. We don't want to take too long here.
What I say, what I say, what I say, what? What I say, what I say, what I say, what?
We're gonna get a guitar solo, perhaps.
What I say, what I say, what? What I say, what I say, what I say, what?
Still got 2 minutes. Guitar solo, maybe. Okay, yeah, let's get it. Let's get it. Yeah. Is that Tom Morello? Whoa! Is that the guitarist right there? That's crazy. That's crazy.
There's a country soul that reads postal barrels. There's a strike in a line of cops outside of the mill. There's a right to obey and a right to kill. There's a mass without roofs. There's a prison to fill.
Okay.
There's a country soul that reads postal bills.
Yeah, get a drummer song. Get a drummer song.
Outside of the mill. There's a right to obey and there's the right to kill.
Okay, I like that. I like that little ending part. That little ending poem type deal. That was a really great track. That felt long too. We're only on track 3. We're on track 4 now. That was a good one. Especially the follow-up Guerrilla Radio, which is my favorite song by Rage Against the Machine. Yo, what's your favorite Rage song? Because mine is Guerrilla Radio. But Call Michael Bond was dope too. Anyway, track number 4, mic check. That's something also rappers say often. Mic check 1 2 1 2. I'm strapped, you strapped. Let's play 2-1. Joel Santana. I'm looking at the lyrics, that's why I'm looking over here. I'm like, it's right here. Rapping right here. This is more rappy than the other one. Even the drums. Yeah, this is more rap influence. Obviously, Zach, Rage as a whole, well, I say Zach as the vocalist, he takes a lot of influence from rap. Like, I think sometimes he's just rapping. He's just like screaming over a rock, instrumentals. This whole song is more rap influenced. Even the music, the drums, like that's a 4-bar loop. That's rap. You know what I mean? That's what we do. 19th rhythm. Rock song. And I smile right there. He said, I'd be the fire that only Marley could catch. So I think that's like a reference to how much Marley smoked weed. Little beat switch.
Welcome down with the warrior sound.
Now, this is like a DJ scratching the record. But what's happening there? And I say this often. Whenever I ask myself, like, yo, what sound is this? Or what's happening with this? Like, even on the last song with the high pitched, like, squeal type thing. Whenever I ask myself when I'm listening to Rage, like, what instrument is that? Like, are they on a rock song scratching the record? Like, I doubt that's what's happening. Anytime I ask myself that, it's Tom Morello doing some innovative shit with his guitar, which is awesome. That's what it sounds like. DJ.
Like device, I spit non-fiction. Who got the power? That's been my question. The master, the few in this tornation. The priest, the book of the congregation. Politics who
Politricks.
Who give the thieves the key to their homes. The pig whose feet are on one shall clap. What survivors who make them
Shall clap. Murder on the back. That's crazy. Okay. Very rap influence. I think that was Tom Morello. How did he do that? Like, what makes you even think, okay, I can scratch a record, I can make that sound just with a guitar? Like, how do you even figure out you can do that? Track number 5, Sleep Now in the Fire. So another like impossible sounding track. Yeah, one called Calm Like a Bomb. Bombs are not calm. Then this one, Sleep Now in the Fire. I doubt if you're in the fire, you're gonna be sleeping unless like you inhaled too much smoke and it's too late for you. That's some Jimi Hendrix guitars. Let me pull up these lyrics.
The world is my expense. The cost of my desire. Jesus bless me with his future. And I protect it with fire.
So I got something to say about this beat. Let me stretch.
March around, just don't take what you need. Until and bury those committed and smother the rest in greed. Crawl with me until tomorrow, I'll drag you to the grave. I'm deep inside your children and betray you in my name.
Okay, so during the verse, those drums, definitely, again, more hip-hop influence. That resembles what I would call a break beat. So the drums in hip-hop is real short, so I can get back to it. The drums in hip-hop come from, originally, like, beat breaks on records, like James Brown records. Like, he had a lot of beat breaks. Like, into the song, there would be, like, a beat drum sample, and it's just... Then the producers in rap would take those beat breaks, sample them, slow them down, and that's the foundation for drums for most hip hop songs. Oh, most hip hop songs use like the same beat break drums. Like many of them sample the same songs, the drums. Very similar drums across all hip hop songs. They're just, the drums are either slowed down or sped up, or there's an effect over them to make it sound different. But during this verse, that sounded like a beat break verse. And that's where break dancing comes from. Just, you know, some hip hop knowledge. Break dancing, it's called break dancing because you're dancing to the beat break. So you're dancing to the break. You got a whole record, then like at the end, you got like a James Brown record. At the end, you have like this drum beat break that's different than the rest of the song. So people would take that beat break and be like, okay, we're just gonna take that and loop it for like 5 minutes. Okay, now we're gonna break dance because we love the beat break drums so much. So just some hip hop trivia for you.
It's my expense.
See these lyrics.
The scope of my desire. The party blessed me with its future. When I protect it with fire. I am the leader, the Peter, the Santa Maria, the Luce, the rapist, the fields, the Sia, the agents, the voltage, the priest of Hiroshima, the cost of my desire. Sleep now in the fire.
Oh, Santa Maria. That was the name of Christopher Columbus' ship.
Sleep now in the
That's a beat break for sure.
For it's the end of history. It's caged and frozen still. There is no other pill to take. So swallow the one that made you ill. Maria, Papita, La Santa Maria, Luce, the rapist, the fields overseer, the agent,
Fields overseer.
the priest of
Hiroshima, we bombed Hiroshima with a nuclear weapon, World War II. I know that's Tom Morello on the guitar, but the way that guitar solo came in, that reminded me, if anybody listens to the Black Keys, I love the Black Keys. Hold on. It's my favorite Black Keys album right here. Yeah, this is one of my favorite albums of all time, bro. This is the original copy too from when it came out. El Camino. So anyway, the way that, like the texture of the guitar, the way it sounded, very like, listen to Little Black Submarines by Black Keys. That's what it reminded me of. Black Keys. Again, what's that sound? That's Tom Morello. Okay, so if you can confirm, if anybody out there watching, did Rage Against the Machine sample beat breaks, or maybe their drummer just did something that sounded like it? Because that was a beat break for sure. Another high intensity song. Let's just jump right into the next track, because now I'm in a groove with this. Born of a Broken Man, track number 6. Slower, almost acoustic. Not anymore. A broken man, not a broken man. He talking about his dad? He's saying born of a broken man. Is he talking about his dad? Like his dad broken, but he's not.
An empty glass of himself, shattered somewhere within. His thoughts like 100 moths trapped in a lampshade.
Excuse me.
Somewhere within.
His thoughts like 100 moths.
Their wings banging and burning.
What does that mean?
On through endless nights, forever awake, he lies shaking and starving, praying for someone to turn off the light.
So I feel like this song is a little bit more of a riddle lyrically. Like Rage Against the Machine songs are usually very straightforward. Like there's no questioning what they're talking about, who they're talking to. But this one is a little bit more of a riddle. In the last album, Evil Empire, it had like a song or two like that as well, where it's kind of just more lyrically abstract.
Fears hunt me down, capturing my memories. The frontier of lies. They try to escape across the street where Jesus stripped bare.
See, I'm really into the lyrics, so I'm trying to figure out what he's talking about.
Spirit he was supposed to nurture. In the name of mine. In the name of
Guitar solo, maybe? Oh yeah. the drummer and the guitarist and who's on bass guitar? Is that also Tom Morello? Everything just works so harmoniously together. Track number 7, Born as Ghosts. So another song that's kind of like oxymoron. Born as a ghost, sleeping in fire, calm like a bomb. Lock on guard post. More hip hop drums. These are hip hop drums.
We're burning batons, we could freeze and shake. Under the toxic sunsets, they dine and toast. Those walls deny the terror face. By the children born as ghosts.
So I'm guessing he means children born as ghosts. I'm guessing he means like children who were born in a society like where you're just doomed to die anyway. Like it's not even worth it. But if you know, put it in the comments if you got a different idea.
Where home is a wasteland, taste the razor wire. Thought is locked in the womb. Tears that kill at the myth of the dream. The suffering that sucks the lies off the screen.
Warning you sufferers begin to speak our word. That's what I mean, everything works together so well. Yo, the band got chemistry, you can tell. Like, what are these sounds? How do you make these sounds with conventional instruments? I don't know. So I think I was onto something with the meaning when trying to break down the meaning of the title, Born as Ghosts. When he says the children born as ghosts, I thought he meant like these are children born into a society, into a system that is just going to doom them anyways. Like you're just born a ghost, like you're doomed regardless. I think I was right because in the song he said we. When he says we, I'm guessing he means himself and his band. Are the children born as ghosts? So it's not necessarily meaning you're born dead, but yeah, look what the children born as ghosts. Look at us now. Like we're rebellious. We're saying fuck all you guys. Like this is what happens when you allow children to be born as ghosts. Track number 8, Maria. He's mentioned Santa Maria already. Reference to Christopher Columbus. Maybe this one is also a reference to the Santa Maria. That bass line is crazy. Bass line is crazy.
Like cattle across degree 106, sweating vomit up road as she craves and suffocates.
I think this is about the Santa Maria. The sun ablaze as Maria's foot touches the surface of sand. Dead giveaway. Like the boat pulls to the shore. On the northern land, North America, as human contraband. So, if I remember correctly, the first European settlers were like degenerates. These are like they're near prisoners shipped off from Europe. So Rico from Jalisco, she clutches her cross. So they did come under the guise of Christianity. This is how the story goes, or whatever. Here comes the exhaust boats. I don't know if they had exhaust, like combustion engines. They definitely didn't have combustion engines back then. But it's a play on words metaphor. I think this is about the Santa Maria because he's already referenced it earlier in the album. Heavy.
Eternally here.
Mason Dixon. I don't think that second verse was about the Santa Maria. I think this one sounds more about like human trafficking, sold and shipped across the new line of Mason-Dixon. So the Mason-Dixon, that basically what separated. It was an arbitrary line, really, that separated the North and the South in the United States. So if you're below the Mason-Dixon line, you basically Confederate above your Union. My job is to kill if you forget to take your pill. The foreman, I see like the way he's mentioning foreman. I take that as like an overseer. Yeah, this one sounds more like a person. The first verse was definitely like a ship. It's like the phases. Okay, so that song definitely deeper than what meets the eye. I think the first verse was about the Santa Maria ship. The second verse is about, more specifically, a person or people, using Maria to represent like a group of people. Sounds like some human trafficking, some slavery going on there. And I haven't broken down the tear away at the mask part. I didn't see how that related. But again, this is only one listen, so give me a couple more listens. I may be able to break it down a bit more. Track number 9, Voice of the Voiceless. So this is basically his whole MO, Voice of the Voiceless. Like, what are these sounds? That's crazy. It's like old video game music. Nice drums. I like these drums. Pull these lyrics up. Another Mumia reference. Nice, a mastodon. So this sounds dedicated to Mumia. Okay, so you know I don't like interrupting during the verse, or I like interrupting during the verse, but I try not to because the people who watch it don't like that. He said, burned like black churches. So we know what the KKK used to do, haters. Watch the decision of Dred Scott as it reverses. So you didn't hear about Dred Scott, go look up that case. Obviously it wasn't reversed, but I think he's using that as a metaphor. And yeah, it seems like this whole song is dedicated to me. My Panther, he's a Black Panther. Yeah. Orwell, you talking about George Orwell, 1984? Like a little brother. Yeah, so that was definitely a George Orwell reference. We've all read that book. If you're American, North American, America, you've read 1984. That was required reading in high school. George Orwell, Big Brother's watching you. Zach says little brother's watching you too. He's like, yo, big brother's watching, my little brother's watching too, and his cousin. They all watching, Track number 10, New Millennium Homes. Sounds like a real estate advertisement. Let me pull up these lyrics. Heavy feedback. So he's saying, yo, hungry people don't stay hungry for long. He says they get hope from fire and smoke. So when this shit start burning down, we start burning shit down, like, oh yeah, that wheat grows strong, right there. And we not gonna be hungry for long. We coming to take what's ours. Let's keep it going. And that's real. I mean, cover the spreadsheets. The Dow Jones is skying, like peaking, skyrocketing. The cell block livestock, buying stock in cell blocks. Like you can buy stock in like companies that own private prisons. Bodies they buying. You buy the stock. Like essentially, you're buying a company which owns the bodies. You're buying bodies. Like, I mean, that's facts. Getting hot in here, y'all. It's getting real hot.
Check the high tech terror. It's the new order athletes. Peer into the eyes of the child already on trial. All these living families apart. Get them on fire. Convictions fit the stock profile. All the wild films and dogs. Cutting through homes. Ripping skin from bones. Yes, the new millennium homes. The privatizing and privatizing. A never rising of the old South. Or the new northern horizon.
I'm trying to figure out these lyrics. Ribbon skin from bones, the new millennium homes. Oh, hold on, let's turn that over. What's going on? So yeah, okay, so gotta let Tom Morello get his. Films of dogs cutting through homes, ripping skin from bones. Yes, the new millennium homes. So I understand the part about the dogs cutting through homes. I'm assuming they're talking about canine units being ordered through people's homes. They're attacking the people. Oh, and by the way, if you hit a dog, that's like the same as assaulting a police officer. Like, anyway, but the new millennium homes, how does that play into it? Old South orders, new Northern Horizon. Okay, let's not get too stuck on that. We're approaching the end here. Track number 11, Ashes in the Fall. In the fall. He's talking about the season. Pull these lyrics up. Turn that back up. Yo, that's something you would read in a book, the way he was descriptive. A mass of hands, meaning hella people's hands, pressed on the market window. Like they're just so fucking hungry. There's feeding on hunger, glaring through the promise. Okay, I like how you said that. it's gonna be a heavy drop.
Old sound, just like the new sound. Over new ground. This is the new sound, just like the old sound, just like the new sound. Over the new ground. This is the new sound, just like the old sound, just like the new sound. Over the new ground. Ain't the new sound?
New sound, new ground, old sound. He's doing that rhyme scheme right
Look
here.
at the new snout.
New snout, old new snout, new ground, new sound, old sound. This is angry right here. This is very angry.
This is the new sound, just like the old sound, just like the new sound, over the new ground.
A lot of beat changes.
Just like the old sound, just like the new sound, over the new ground.
Yeah, they playing with your adrenaline, your emotions. They just taking it away. Bring it up, taking it away. Then you know they're gonna give you one more explosion before the end. So now this is your time to really prep yourself. This is like before the mosh pit hit, right? So there was a part of this song I wanted to, look over again. This part right here. Ain't it funny how the factory's doors close around the time that the school doors close? Around the same time that 100 jail cells open up to greet you like the Reaper. So this kind of it makes me think of the school to prison pipeline. Like how some school systems or the implementation of some rules are structured to just put people in jail, to funnel you from the school to the jail. So I feel that part. But then he also mentioned the factory. Like, isn't it funny how when this is how I think of it. Maybe in the 90s, shipping jobs overseas wasn't as offshoring is the word, wasn't as popular or prevalent. But just, humor me here. Isn't it funny how around the same time when they offshore your job and they close down a factory that feeds like 2 counties, isn't it funny how around the same time they do that, they also open up a new prison, or they also funded a new prison to open up more beds? It's like they're anticipating, or they're just going to straight up profit all. They're closing the factory. One of the incentives is for them to also profit off this prison, buy some stock in the prison, or those type of things they do. Buy some stock in the company that owns a part of the prison. So they're incentivized, like, yeah, let's close the factory. We can close that school down there too. We're probably gonna have an increase in crime due to poverty, due to kids just having nothing to do, and due to adults being out of work. So let's just put some stock in these prison companies. Oh yeah, and by the way, let's open up a few more beds in there too, because we're anticipating this, rather than just helping you, rather than just coming to a solution to the problem of the school being closed, or stopping the school from closing, or from opening more jobs, or bringing more jobs in. They're more invested in profiting off of the situation. So that's something you see today. So anyways, track number 12. This is the outro, which is weird because on the lyrics website, it shows a 13th track called No Shelter. But on the streaming app, this is the last track, War Within a Breath. Quite right.
Rising sun, moving over Los Angeles. Yes, for NASA. Living in la la la. Through the dawn, indifferent. Reach for the lessons of mass. Pass on. Seas to metropolis. It's you, it's real talk. Everything can change on New Year's Day. Everything can change on a New Year's Day. Everything can change on a New Year's Day. And everything changed on a New Year's Day. Come on. We're ready to fly. Let's let the death. We're ready to fly. Let's let the death. We're ready to fly. Let's let the death. We're ready to fly. Let's let. Their resistance is a crime. Their seat, their role, their time, their land deeds, their higher guns, greater crime. Shots heard, underground rounds of rapture. World I capture at last in the Mexican pasture. Man screaming land of death within the breath. A war from the depth of time. Shot for brother governors in the line. Shook all the world backers who think they can rhyme. Shot the landlords who knew it was wrong. Yes, that's a war from the depth of time. Everything can change on a New Year's Day. Everything can change on a New Year's Day. Everything can change on a New Year's Day. And everything can change on a New Year's Day. Come on. Roll the master. Roll with it blood. Let's ride the death. Roll with it blood. Let's ride the death. Roll with it blood. Let's ride the death. Roll with it blood. Let's ride the death.
Still got a minute guitar solo. Close it out with a guitar solo, man. Let it all out. It's the outro. Let that feedback, okay. That was Rage Against the Machine, Battle of Los Angeles. Shout out to LA. I am from LA. Where do I start? I thoroughly enjoyed that. I don't even know where to start, you know. I feel like I need to just let that last song sink in, but let me try to spit some words out. I like this album more than Evil Empire. Evil Empire I didn't think it was bad. I just think they kind of deviated. Rage kind of deviated a bit from what was going on in their first album. I mean, people honking like that crazy, bro. Relax, really. Rage kind of deviated what they did from what they were doing in their first album, if I remember correctly. Some of the lyrics on Evil Empire were more abstract. I even want to say some of the beats, like they still had their aggressive side, they still had their straightforward, you know, this is what we're talking about, socio-political vibe, but some of the tracks just more deviated from it. I need to go watch my Evil Empire reaction again to pinpoint exactly what it was. But this album, Battle of LA, this is more in the vein of that first one, that first album. Cohesive sounding, like you could take some of these songs and drop them off on the first album and it would sound like they're from the same studio session. You could take some of the songs from the first album, put it on this album, it would sound like they're from the same studio session. Evil Empire wasn't always like that. There were some songs that were like that, but as a whole, the album if I remember correctly, was just different slightly. Still in the Rage Against the Machine vein, but kind of just deviated from what that first album, self-titled, and from what this album, Battle of LA, were doing. Okay, so I'll easily say my favorite song is obviously Guerrilla Radio. That's my favorite Rage Against the Machine song, period. And it also has nostalgia attached to it. So I doubt any song I ever hear from them is going to top that. There are some songs I really liked on here. I liked Calm Like a Bomb. I like that last song, War Within a Breath. Born as a Ghost. Let me hear that again. What did that sound like? Yeah, Born as a Ghost. I like that one. Maria, I kind of liked, the metaphor they were using Maria as, if I'm correct. The Santa Maria in verse 1, human trafficking in verse 2. Yeah, this album came out in '99. Yeah, this is classic Rage Against the Machine to me. This sounds very in line with that first album. So for the people who were Rage Against the Machine fans when this came out, how was this album received? This is many years into their career already. Were people getting tired of the sound? Were people like, oh, this isn't better than Evil Empire? How are people feeling about this album when it came out? It's on the verge of a new millennium. It's going into the 2000s. Were people over the band by this point? Had new bands come and kind of taken like their momentum? How was this album received? Because to me, listening years later, this is, I want to say, just as good as the first album. And it's in the same vein of the first album. So as a fan, I can only assume people were very happy when this came out, because this is very similar to their first album, which people loved. You'll read that comment section on my reaction video. People love that first album. So anywho, there's another song, No Shelter. I guess it was a Japanese and Australian version. They got this song as a bonus track. Oh, Godzilla. Maybe this is in the Godzilla movie. Ooh. I like how that sound. Same flow as Guerrilla Radio. Just use the same flow. This song is like the same cadence as Guerrilla Radio. If you listen to its flow, and like it's the same cadence. Listen to Guerrilla Radio and then listen to this back to back. It's the same cadence. So like, what was this in the Godzilla movie? Again, in '99, I was a little kid. Was this song in the Godzilla movie? What scene was it in? Market Bulls got pockets full. Coca-Cola was back in Saigon? Get your eyes off the real killer. Cinema, simulated life, and drama. Right culture, Americana. Key to the train, they got you searching for the thin line between entertainment and war. Lights out, Guerrilla Radio. Turn that shit up. There be no shelter here. There be no shelter here. That's some shit Wu-Tang Clan using their songs. Go crazy. That's anger. It's like an army drum. Okay, so I just wanted to listen to No Shelter just in case, you know, that's one of y'all's favorite songs. Maybe you remember it from the movie Godzilla. Maybe you came here just to see me react to No Shelter, so I just had to throw that in there. Boom. I already said my last thoughts on the album. My favorite album is still that Rage Against the Machine self-titled album, but Guerrilla Radio off this album is better, is the best song. And this is a number 2 album that I've heard from them so far. It's better than Evil Empire. To me, all great albums are all great. So Rage Against the Machine, very consistent. Again, I asked the question, if you were around and like conscious during this time and a Rage Against the Machine fan, what were the thoughts about this album before it dropped? How did people feel after it dropped? Were they tired of the sound? Had like this movement of socio-political has had it going, like, was it already past and Rage is kind of beating a dead horse, or was it still persistent? I mean, let me know, because today it's still, everything's very relevant and the music still sounds so good and innovative. Anyway, be sure to subscribe if you have not already. This is top5rapwebsite.com. Peace.